Welcome back, Intro Chem, or I'm sorry, you're not Intro Chem, Chem 1 friends. Chem 1 friends. Thanks for tuning in again. So in my previous videos, we have talked about how to name and write compounds that are ionic and that are molecular. Now we're going to look a little more carefully at molecular compounds, specifically acids. And acids are special for many reasons. If you go on in chemistry, you'll have lots of lectures about acid-base chemistry. But acids, it turned out, have their own sort of a twist on a naming system. So how do you determine if the molecule that you were given is an acid? Two things to look for. Obviously, acids have a hydrogen at the beginning of them. The second thing to look for to see if you are dealing with an acid is that does that molecule that have a hydrogen at the beginning produce hydrogen ion H+ in water? So how do you know if a species is an acid? And you see the hydrogen, how do you know if it produces hydrogen ion in water? You will see the symbol AQ, which stands for aqueous. That means that that species, when it dissolves in aqueous environment, specifically water, will produce hydrogen ion. Or if you learn that hydrogen ion and this hydronium ion, they're both the same. Take-home message: if you have a molecule that has a hydrogen at the beginning and is written with AQ next to it, a little bell should go off in your head that means it is an acid. It is an acid. And acids have their own naming system. So when naming acids, first you need to determine it is an acid, and then you need to determine if it is binary or if it is a ternary or oxyacid. Those acids, I think those acids that are binary, those are the easier of the two. So let's start with that. Binary acids are named by putting hydro, by starting with the word hydro. In the middle, you do the base name of the associated nonmetal, and then you add ic acid on the end. So the main formula is hydro, whatever the stem or root is of the nonmetal, and ic acid. So for example, HClAQ, if I was to give you this molecule, you'd say, oh, I see a hydrogen, I see AQ, means it's an acid. I know it's a binary acid because I just have the hydrogen and the nonmetal. So I'm going to name it as a binary acid, which would be hydrochloric acid. If I had, let's say I had H2S, aqueous, and I asked you to name that molecule. You see the hydrogen there? You see the AQ? So it must be a acid, and it's a binary acid, just the hydrogen and the sulfur. So the name of this molecule would be hydrosulfuric acid. Okay. So one important point here. So we said that it was really important when writing acids to write this, I should box here, write this AQ. Why is that important? Well, that's important because that tells the chemist to use acid naming rules for it as opposed to naming it as just a binary molecular compound. I like this HCl example because it illustrates what I'm talking about. Let's say I was to give you HCl gaseous. And I see the hydrogen here, but it's not aqueous, it's gaseous. So I am not going to name this as an acid. I am going to name it as a binary molecular compound, which would just be hydrogen chloride. Take-home message: to name acids, make sure you look for the AQ. Otherwise, if it's hydrogen and another nonmetal, then you would name it as just a binary molecular compound. So that's how to name and how to identify binary acids. In the next video, we'll talk about how to identify and name ternary, or also called oxyacids.